What is up, everybody? This is Zach
and Derek
with the Nerd Cave. We're talking about the PlayStation 5. We're giving our impressions. Derek has now caught up. He is in time.
I'm now a learned swine.
Yeah, I hate that we missed you on
I know
the watch party and everything, but
I miss being there.
I'm sure you did. But I'm glad that we get to sit down and chat about the PlayStation 5 event. And guys, if you want to go see the live reactions of Allie and I, you can go check that out. You can check out the full playlist. I'll put down below, or you can watch the segments of the big announcements like Ratchet and Clank, a rift apart a rift, whatever it's called. I don't remember.
Right. We'll get to there.
But if you're here, you're ready for the discussion. So,
yep.
Derek, lay it on me. What did you think overall? Like, if you had to grade off the bat, A, B, C, D, F, because that's how we grade in America, y'all.
Yeah. I honestly would probably give it either a B- or just a solid B. Like, there was a lot of stuff for me that spoke to me, but then, like we discussed a little bit before when we were setting up, it's a typical Sony conference. Great start, great ending, drag in the middle. There was but it's not like, and I'll give credit to Sony and Microsoft as far as when their presentations go. Like, yeah, they may not always have bangers every time, but at least they're taking feedback and actually showing that to fans. But they know that, hey, all this gimmicky hardware crap, all these boring people coming out here and chatting for 10 minutes, just droning on about it. We hear you. You just want to have people come up here, discuss for a brief moment, show gameplay, just show trailers, and be done with it. And so at least they're getting to the bare bones of their discussion, and at least their middle didn't drag. There has been some worse conferences where they've shown in the middle just this like a slosh fest, but this middle was not terrible, but it still was a drag.
Yeah, like I was really hungry in the minute. I almost left the live stream to go get something to eat. That's how bad it was to me in the middle.
Right.
Like you said, it started out really good, and then in the middle, like, there were some interesting games, like I think it was the Little Devil Inside. That one looks really cool. I like that one. But then you get, we'll go into it. Like, my grading, I'd give it a 79. Like, it's not a B.
Fair.
Like, it was good. Like, there were some elements that, like, brought the score up. But if we would have had more of in the middle, man, it would have been a D. If I would have had like another 5 minutes of that junk, I would have been gone.
Fair.
Either passed out or getting something to eat.
Right. Or both.
I'm just in the kitchen, just like, Allie being here, like, I think Zach passed out.
It's like, so we're doing it live, guys. It's just me, solo act. Go.
And then I hear Shuhei's voice, and I'm like,
right, back from the grave.
full of grace.
Right. Oh man.
So,
but
let's walk through the conference. You can. I know you got your notes. I
do.
Got your fact checking notes. You already fact checked me before this even started.
Yeah, you called it. You called it in the pre-show because I did pop in for a few minutes. It's like I'm probably shaking my head at you for a few times. I'm like, yeah, I was. But so let's get this started, and let me just start off by saying the first thing they showed. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way. This was the ultimate. I won't say the ultimate, but this was a great troll start to the game or to the reveal event, because everyone's talking about GTA 6. There's been two hot topics: Batman, which we didn't get, and then GTA 6.
Yeah,
and they flare. Everyone's like, we got to see it, and everyone. The first thing that popped up was that Rockstar logo, and everyone started wetting their britches. And then they show gameplay, and I'm looking at it like, this doesn't look that new. Yeah, and then they showed
when Michael started talking and like he's doing the yoga, I was like, I played this like
right.
Ago.
And then they pulled up the GTA 5 logo, and I laughed. Like, I didn't holler, but I laughed. I'm just like, man, everyone just got trolled so hard with this. It it's like what I was telling you before. It was like PSX that year that Sony said, "Oh, we're bringing a beloved game to the PS4," and it was Final Fantasy VII, but it was the PC port, and everyone was like, "What?" This was another one of those moments that they just trolled. But I will say that they did do some nice things for the PlayStation 4 owners. Like, of course, I did say after this, shocking no one, they're porting PS5 to new next gen consoles.
Yeah.
It is weird because it's coming out next year.
Yeah,
So,
which like you would figure that they would just have it ready to go, like
right.
launch window.
Well, they did say it expanded and enhanced. So that says to me either they're doing something with the online infrastructure, which is one of the reasons that they could wait till next year, or they may be doing what they haven't done in a while, story DLC. That's the only things I could think of, because it's not Rockstar doesn't care if they trample on toes. They could put it out this holiday and they wouldn't care because they know they're going to make money off of it.
Oh yeah, it's literally the most money making piece of entertainment content ever made. That's
I don't
GTA
think
5.
I think since it's been out, I do not think it has not left the top 20 NPD report every month. Since it's been out,
it hasn't, and that's the crazy thing.
And it's like, who doesn't have that game at this point? But
who hasn't played GTA 5 at this point? Even your grandmother that's never played a video game in her life. Hell, right? GTA 5.
So.
I like that they're giving it for free, and they're doing like $1 million in cash.
I was going to say that
with the every month with the PlayStation Plus or whatever.
And correct me, did it start this month or are they starting next month with that?
I think it's next month. I think this month you get the game for free, and then next month you get the cash.
Right.
So,
but I think that's a cool idea for PS4 owners that said, all right, every month up until the PS5 release, you're going to get $1 million free for online and Shark Cash. I'm like, that's at least a great incentive.
Oh yeah, because like there's so many times that I've thought about, man, should I get into GTA 5 online? And then it's like, I'm not going to buy anything with my own money. And then it's like, oh, we're just going to give stuff for free. Like, yes, you're going to get some people that have never played it that are going to spend past what they're getting for free.
Right.
They're going to get it hooked. But like, if you've never played GTA 5, then this is your chance. The story is really good. That's the only thing that I really cared about the game.
Right.
But the enhancing, I know we need to move on because we got a lot to cover. But I'm curious to see if they do story DLC, or is it they just added, they're constantly adding to the online. Is that the next big thing that they're going to do? Like, they'll be doing stuff throughout, but is that the next, like when they added the Diamond Casino and everything, like is that going to be the next one?
Because correct me if I'm wrong, because I mean, most of all the updates have been free, but they've only had charge for one online expansion, correct?
I couldn't tell you.
I think I know they charged for one. I don't know if that was the only one they've done, but the fact that they haven't charged for all but one of the online DLCs is ridiculous to begin with. But that's just how much money that's made. So.
Oh yeah, and people are paying out of pocket to buy the Batmobile or whatever it is that they're getting and everything. So people are spending money on that. And then after that, we got.
Hold on, I meant to bring this up. You know me, I do my research. So I actually, after I watched this, I went and watched all the trailers individually on PlayStation's YouTube channel. There are going to be some surprises because they're in terms of how it was shown. By that I mean it was either, except for like GTA and a handful of other games, either it was exclusive by PlayStation Studios or it's a timed exclusive. And there's two on this list that'll surprise you that are on here.
I know Arcane's new game, Deathloop, is a PS5 exclusive. And then the Square Enix, I think it's Athia or something like that, is also a PS5 exclusive, which I was surprised that both of those.
Oh, we'll get to that, but yeah, there was a bunch. Pretty much, there was only a handful of games that was going to be on multiple consoles at least for a minute. I'm like, how? Wait, what? How?
Now, I'm sure NBA is not on.
No. NBA is one of NBA.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but all right. So continuing on, we saw, and I wasn't expecting this. Like, we got two games from Insomniac. One I expected The other one, I did not.
Well, before that, we had Herman whispering in our ears.
Right, right. Yeah, he was whispering sweet nothings. He's like, "We know what you want. We have it for you."
And we're not going to tell you the price nor the date.
No, but we will one up Microsoft. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, so like I said, one Insomniac game at least I expected to see. The other one I did not. We got Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that and I called it, like, even before, like, I did not look at any of the press releases before I went and watched the overall video. So, and of course, when it's coming out, like the trailer's going up and you see the arm, and I was like, oh, this is Spider-Man. Like, I saw the mask and I was like, oh, and then it's like, go be a hero, Miles. I'm like, oh, this is Miles. Because, they teased him in Spider-Man game. And then, and we all knew that, all right, he's going to be playable in 2, or he's going to play some intricate part in 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, this doesn't feel like 2. I don't think this is 2. And I was like, and when I looked at it, like, the game looked great. And I was like, this is going to feel like, you remember when Infamous Second Son came out and they did First Light and then Uncharted Lost Legacy? This feels like, and who knows, because, Uncharted was supposed to be add-on for 4, but then they just went ahead with so many ideas that they just made it its own game. And I'm just like, this is maybe the same vein, but, and then it was confirmed later that this is not an expansion. This is not an add-on to the game. This is not a remake of it. This is just, it's owned by itself. So...
It definitely does feel like it is in that vein that it might have started out as a way to, as another DLC, but then they kept working on it. They kept working on it, and then it became its own full game and everything. But, like, it looks so good, and I'm excited to, like, get Miles Morales as, like, our main character this time around. It looked a little grittier than the PS4 Spider-Man,
right?
Like the city looked a little bit dingier, which I'm fine with. But like I'm excited to see what they do with the game. Like I was stoked.
Right, and that could just deal with it, like where his the thing I don't want, like, I could have some of the, I don't know how you'll feel on this, but I don't want just a sectioned off version of the same map from Spider-Man.
No.
Like, it could have like maybe 1 or 2 parts, like the Brooklyn map or whatnot, but I want like new sections in that game. Like, because I'm not sure where they said in the game he lives, but I would like to be around his section of the neighborhood. I don't know if he lives in the same area that Peter does, but
I want somewhere new to explore, because we swung and we swang all over that place. And we've beaten thugs and freed cats from trees. Like, I'm ready for something new. Something new in the game. And I'm curious to see, like, the Rogues Gallery, because I don't really know Miles's Rogues Gallery, if it's shared with Peter Parker's Rogues and everything. I'm sure there's some spill over and everything, but like the villains that they were showing, like, a few of them, I never seen them before. So I'm curious to see what it is.
I think we'll get his own like villain, like, not that's original. I don't want to say original, but one that wasn't in the game to be his big. I think we'll see some trickle in side quests depending on how much intricate they make this game. I think we'll see some rehash, like was it Screwball? Screwball. We could see her again, and her annoying challenges. But other than that, like, I think we'll get 1, maybe 2 new villains in there just for Miles, but I'm not expecting a huge blowout for him.
Yeah, I think we'll get about 8 to 10 hours of gameplay from it. I'm not expecting it. I might be wrong. It might be a 40-hour game, because they've had time to work on something.
Yeah, but how about this? By the time it comes out, which, by the way, this was the big get. It comes out holiday, so it's the launch exclusive for PlayStation 5, which is a big thing. But by the time it comes out, it'll have been just over 2 years since Spider-Man. So I don't know how soon they started working on this after Spider-Man was out.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll cap it out about maybe 15 to 20 hours, maybe, because I don't know how much side and how much, because, Lost Legacy wasn't that big. First Light wasn't that big. So I think they're going to try and keep it on the smaller scale, because at that point, it's just like, why don't we just call it Spider-Man 2,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited to see what it is, see how long it is. Like length doesn't necessarily mean value like it used
Right.
to. Like I want a good story. They've already got awesome mechanics. I'm curious to see like how gadget oriented
Right.
Miles will be compared to Peter Parker because he was
Hmm.
very like you getting gadgets all the time. And I'm curious to see if Peter comes into the story every now and then, which I'm sure he will, since he did train him in the game some,
Right.
the first game.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In the game, did isn't Miles like a tech head to an extent?
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, I think we'll see maybe not as heavy as Gadget, but I do think he'll be very tech savvy in this game.
Yeah, I don't think that they would take away the tech side
Hmm.
of stuff, just because like you get used to using a lot of the gadgets.
And that's Insomniac's calling card is like gadgets and weapons and unique stuff.
So I'm really really stoked for that game. It's going to be dope.
Yep. And then we got, this was, you can only get so excited about a racing game. But Gran Turismo 7 was shown.
It looks pretty good. Like it doesn't look as good as Forza. I'm just going to be
No,
honest.
I mean Forza has gotten like, especially Forza Horizon, like that's just got its polish down pat. But yeah, Gran Turismo 7 didn't. But I mean, Sport came out like 3 years ago, so I was shocked to see like how fast the turnaround for that was because. And I mean, the gameplay demo didn't do anything for me, but like I said, I'm not the the biggest racing enthusiast. But Gran Turismo definitely needs an injection of life because since it peaked at 5. Then people forget 6 came out the year the PS4 did, but it came out on PS3 like in December, and it was a letdown. And then Sport came out, and it had its rough start with the online infrastructure and whatnot, but now it's turned into a solid game. But nothing has gotten back to that feel of what 5 was. So hopefully 7 can at least. I don't think anything will top GT5 at this point, but I think I would hope that it would at least get it back up to more of a relevant PlayStation exclusive like it was.
Yeah, like Gran Turismo has been near and dear to my heart for a long time because I played Gran Turismo 1,
Oh wow,
the mess out of it, and then I played Gran Turismo 2 even more. And like I got a lot of Gran Turismo 2 vibes from like them showing the map and like how that works and everything. Like it excited me, but it was like I don't feel like getting into like a racing sim. Like it's too much, but like I'm glad that they're putting Gran Turismo back on a pedestal and trying to make it something. It just felt a little lackluster. Like it was like, okay, like you come right after Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like if they would have put that in the middle of all the crap, then that would have been a little bit more exciting.
that would have been the shining moment in the middle. So
exactly, like it felt like it was like, oh, you're really excited. Here's Gran Turismo, and you're like, okay, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's what it felt like. It was like, Spider-Man,
and then it's like Gran Turismo, and you can. And I mean, not to say anything bad, but the head honcho of that studio was there, and he just looks like, all right, can I just get my segment over with and be done?
Yeah, like he was like, I hate my life and I hate working at this studio.
Yeah, because he even had his hands on his hips, and he was just like, can I quit making Gran Turismo games? But
pretty much.
right. But just you touched on it too. Is like the only thing, and granted, I haven't played every Gran Turismo game, so you can correct me on this, but it looked like they had a new like overworld element, like you could go click and go stuff. So that was pretty cool to see. You can like just go there instead of having, because most racing games like, all right, drive all the way over here or drive all the way back.
Yeah, like that started like when open world became more of a thing. I know with Gran Turismo, like Gran Turismo 3 was the last one that I played, and I remember it still being like you look at the map and you just go to the race. Like you can go to the car dealerships and like it just loads up and you pick your car, like which one you want, and then you go to the shop and you pick the parts and all of that. Like you don't really drive anywhere, but this is back in the day, y'all.
Right. Right.
When I was like PlayStation 2.
Right. When they couldn't have the power to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so no date on that one. Then we got the second Insomniac game, which I was expecting to see a platform.
This game looks so good.
Dude, tell me about it. Like this holds a candle. Like I was telling you before we started, this was my first exclusive that I played like on PlayStation. It was a new Ratchet and Clank game. You know, the last one we got was when that terrible movie came out, but at least the game was great.
The game was so good. The
Yeah,
game was
I
so
actually
good.
need to go and finish it, but yeah, it's
I never finished it either, but I was really
right.
enjoying it.
But no, Ratchet and Clank has always had a special place in my heart. So it's great to see that Insomniac and Sony want to continue making games. We got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. They always like their play on words in the subtitles. The big shtick with this one is they have dimensional warps. Like the dimension is breaking down. They're falling through, and they're just going a different. Like you, the cool part that stuck out to me was, and I don't know how they just pop up from time to time, but if you see a rift pop up, you can actually like chain,
Grapple
like
through it.
you grapple to it, and like you're there. So like he was fighting an enemy on a floating platform, and a rift opened up next to it. He's propelled right next to the enemy and started taking him out. So that makes for some interesting gameplay mechanics. And it's interesting though, because I wonder if they'll still involve a ship with him, because they said the warps will also be how you travel to the other planets.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the ship. They mentioned it like in the gameplay and all of that. Like they were like, "Well, where's the ship?" And like it never showed up.
Right.
So I think they might be nixing the ship for the game. I love that like the NPCs were really interactive. Like when they were walking by, they were like, "Oh, that's Ratchet and Clank."
Right,
That was
right.
really cool.
That was like that Last of Us 2 moment where they're like the enemies are like calling out enemy by name.
Yeah,
So,
and then it's like it's not just monster closets where the enemies are coming down from this hallway, like the warps and everything, like the rifts, that's where they're coming in, and it's like all these different types of enemies from all the different Ratchets and Clanks.
And
like,
it brings in
so cool.
And it brings, bringing in by the warps is, yeah, of course you could see one pop up, obviously, but it brings back that uncertainty. Is like, all right, am I going to have a clear room, or am I about to have the enemies just randomly drop in,
Yeah.
So, and this was interesting too, that they teased, they didn't expand on it, but at the end of the initial trailer before they went into gameplay, they showed maybe a multiverse that they got, because they
because it had like the female version of
Ratchet
of Ratchet, yeah,
because him and Clank got separated, and Clank went through a warp, and he's like, Ratchet, I think we're too late, blah blah, and then the woman drops down, is like, who? It's like, wait a minute, what So I wonder if they're going to play around. Nah, she clean though. But no, I wonder if they're going to play around with that idea, like and it only makes sense with the overarching theme they're going with the dimensional warps. I don't want to make it sound like it's just an easy out to introduce a multiverse, but it only makes sense from that.
Yeah, like I'm excited to see what they do with it. Like I've only played one Ratchet and Clank, so I don't really have a dog in the fight, but
it's had a lot of
so good.
Yeah, I'm about to say the PS3, the last great one was Crack in Time. That was like the apex of Ratchet, and then they did a couple ones that went off the beaten path and didn't do so. They even did a tower defense version. It was like, all right, you need to stop.
Stop trying to squeeze that cash cow.
Right, but all the PS2 games were like great. So it's great to see that they continue this, even if we get it once per console generation now. I'm still glad to see this get love.
Yeah, and like just real quick on the graphic side of thing, the particle effects, holy moly, man!
Right,
and the ray tracing, like the whole
Clank was so shiny.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good, man.
Yeah, it definitely looked like they had been working on this for a minute. Because I know I forgot that Insomniac has two teams, so this second team has been pretty much dedicated to Ratchet and Clank for a while now. So, unfortunately, no release date on that one. No, not even a year. But it's coming. Then we got a new IP from Square Enix, Project Athia, however you pronounce it. Working title. This is the first game that's going to be a timed console exclusive. Now, let me give a caveat. All these that are console exclusives, they're still coming to PC, like day and date, but other consoles is going to be later. But it's coming first to play at PS5. Not much gameplay, but it looks like this is in-house. This is not by a like Crystal Dynamics. This isn't by like Eidos Montreal. This is in-house in Square Enix. So this is going to be your typical action adventure, huge RPG style game, and you saw elements of that in the trailer.
Yeah, oh man, when that cranked up, I was like, oh, Square Enix. I was like, this must be the new Final Fantasy,
Right.
but it started like showing it. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't like Final Fantasy 7 Part 2,
No, it's too
Um,
early. I mean, we're only like not even 2 months removed from part one.
yeah. But like it started going, and then like, dude, the little bit of gameplay, like the traversal system and everything, like I was like, all right, I'm sold.
It
Take
reminded
my
me kind
money.
of the Unreal Engine 5 demo
Yeah.
a little bit.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and at first I was like, wait, no, wait, that's Epic. Never mind. Just shut up, Derek.
Yeah, like I was thinking the same thing. Like some of the traversal system looked a lot like that demo of the Unreal Engine and
Right.
everything. But I'm excited, and then that dragon with like the fire coming out of his like
Right.
chest, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
metal.
But no, it looks solid. Like, I don't know if you have elemental powers, but you at least could probably control the earth because, that one shot of her uplifting the roots and like trapping that enemy. So, yeah, the powers I'm going to be wanting to see the most just to see what you can and can't do in that game.
No, she's the avatar.
Right.
Her name is Ong.
And end stream.
Well, we're not streaming.
But then after that we got, and this is first of two games from this studio that I was kind of shocked that we would see from Annapurna, who's they deal in the sci-fi thriller, like quirky stuff kind of games.
Yeah.
They did this game called Stray, and this is another timed exclusive on PS5. It's coming next year. It looks very different. Like, it looks like you're going to be playing as a cat in a robot-centric world. Didn't really see the gameplay. Just saw you just saw it wandering around to different avenues and posts or whatnot. But looks like, I don't know if you're going to be like you lost your owner and it's one of the very last humans, and that's your mission is to find these humans or like the last remnants of humanity. I don't know, but it looks like your typical Annapurna game.
Yeah, there was an article that someone posted on my Facebook feed that it's you're solving mysteries as a cat. So there you go.
The cat's cute though.
Yeah,
So
not my game.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm about to say it's for someone, but
yeah. Now starts like the onslaught of crap that I don't really like fully invested.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say a little bit. First, they did show off the DualSense again. They talked about all the different features it's going to have, like that haptic feedback, the adaptive triggers, which is cool. The USB
your sweat.
Right. It'll know when it'll know when you have to go pee.
Yeah.
So
you're dehydrated, Derek.
Right. You need sleep. Remember how the Wii did that? It's like, why don't you take a break from your game and go outside and play?
It's like, I'm swinging my arms around. What
right. Let me have my fun. But then they showed the USB port, and this is, I mean, the Switch did it first with their Pro controller, so it's only makes sense, but it looked like it was a USB-C port.
Yeah, it was.
So that's cool that we're going that route. That's the next evolution of USB controllers. Motion sensor built in, which I wonder if that's just another fancy way of saying, like, remember with the 6-axis on the PS3? Because I mean, PS4 never really had motion sensor, if I'm correct, right? So no. I wonder how sensitive that'll be, or you can turn that off, because some of the
like I hated like the gimmicky 6-axis crap that developers would like early on in the cycle would try to put in there, and it's like,
well, the same thing with the PS4, like Infamous did, like the whole, turn your controller sideways, shake it, and then like with the touchpad. So it's a generation staple at this point. So why not? I agree with you, but it's not going to change anything at this point.
True that.
But of course, built-in mic and speaker, which I thought the built-in mic was actually pretty cool. Headset jack, and then 3D audio. Of course, that's Sony's biggest thing ever since the Mark Cerny press conference. Like, 3D audio, we want to immerse you in the sound world, and it's like, that's cool though.
Yeah, it was cool, and we got to hear a little bit of that through the presentation. They were using some 3D audio stuff, so I'm excited for the possibility of 3D audio in this new system.
Right. So it's probably going to even sound more fantastic through a headset. So then this next one, I know you probably were excited for because you called it. I know you're a big advocate of the studio. Housemarque's new game.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I was like, what was next? I don't
Right.
remember.
It's called Returnal, and it definitely looks a far cry away from what Housemarque used to
Yeah,
make.
yeah. Well, I remember they were like, yeah, we're gonna stop making the top-down like shooter
E-
games. Like after Alienation, I want to say was
yes,
their last one. No, no,
Alienation
sorry,
or what?
not. It wasn't Alienation. It was Next Machina. That was the last one that
Yes,
they
yes,
made.
yes. It was one of those last two. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just because they weren't getting people to buy it. Like people weren't interested in it that much. But this, I was like, dang, this looks so like this is like way different. But I could see the hints of like they've always been really good at making unique creatures like
Right.
enemies in the world, and that like you saw that all in this trailer. Like it is using the cliche like time loop thing
Yeah.
that you know,
I
but
wonder if they'll make that if they'll use that to make stuff procedurally generated.
that's what I got. It's like, oh, every time I die, you know, the world changes. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is procedurally generated. That's what
Right.
you're trying to tell me right here. But it looked really good. Like I
It
was
does.
very shocked, like to see where the last game Housemarque made
Yeah.
to this one. It's a totally different genre, and like it looks really good.
Yeah, and maybe it was just the camera shots, but there was like hints that like there were certain points throughout the trailer that it kind of looked like they almost were like doing the top-down view. I was like, you can't help yourself, can you? But I think that was more so than the camera shots. But yeah, because what was it, 2016 for Next Machina? So they've had
Yeah.
quite a number of years to work on this. So
Yeah.
they came out with full force, and I'm glad because Housemarque has always been a big advocate for PlayStation because it is an exclusive. It's not a timed exclusive. This is PlayStation Studios in-house. So Returnal, no date on it yet, but it looks great. Like it's pretty much like if I had to compare it, like it's their next game like Guerrilla-esque because Guerrilla
Yeah.
went from
That's what
Killzone
I
to
was thinking.
Horizon, and everyone was like, "What? We didn't know you could do this." So I feel
Yeah.
like now it's got to stick the landing, obviously, but this has the potential to be that jump for them too.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them. Like just like seeing it and like not even playing it. Like I was like, all right, guys, y'all are doing something good here.
Right.
Like I've enjoyed their games for a long time, but I was just like, that's Housemarque. What?
Yeah, me too. Because it was like they came out as like a very beloved, was a very great beloved partner for Sony. I was like, who is this? And then I see Housemarque. I'm like, oh.
And she's just like dancing in the background. It's like,
yes, that's me. But I like to play on words too, like return, eternal. So I like how they combine those. Yeah,
I was like, I don't get it, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I could be I could be looking at that completely wrong, but that's the only thing that made sense for me.
Well, there you go, guys. You heard it here first.
And then this next one is another exclusive, and this one was a surprise for a couple of reasons because they showed a lot more platformers than I thought they would. Like it's like they're going back to old school like gameplay style. But Sackboy: A Big Adventure,
Yeah,
it looks more of like a true platformer because Little Big Planet. It's weird that they didn't call it Little Big Planet, but I think because they're not doing necessarily the Minecraft dungeons take on this, but they're wanting it to make it different because this felt like very Mario Odyssey-esque with how some of the level layout was. But it looks like they're not, because Little Big Planet has always been a platformer, but they've always incorporated creation elements. This one is just straight go collect stuff, get through the levels. So
like having the 4-player element as well in the game, like they're bringing that back from like I think Little Big Planet 3 was when they like started doing all of that.
The other interesting part was it's by Sumo Digital, which they've done a lot of ports, but they also were the ones that did the last Little Big Planet 3. So that makes me think. Now, granted, Media Molecule, who actually originally created Little Big Planet, has been through an arduous journey with Dreams. They just finally got that out over a year ago. So I know. No, wait, February. My bad. No, it came out February.
No, I think I said Ben made it the yesterday.
Oh,
instead
no, that was Days Gone.
I know we talked about Ben and I can't remember. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But Yeah, it's interesting because granted, like I said, Media Molecule has had an arduous journey with getting Dreams out, and they finally
Mhm,
put it out this past February.
mhm.
But it's interesting now. It's like, is Sumo Digital just going to take over the Little Big Planet license from here on out, and Media Molecule is going to do other things?
Well, I think they're going to try to push Dreams a lot,
Yeah.
continue support with that. But I think PlayStation is probably hovering over their shoulders and like, whatever you do, you better do it within 3 years or we're going to kill
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think they'll ever give them that kind of a leash again. Like
Oh, no.
Last Guardian was, it was outside their realm. It couldn't be helped. But this one is like, no, you need to stop. You're one of our
Yeah.
flagship companies. You don't need to do this again.
No, no. And they can't afford it. You know what I mean?
No.
Like they've closed other studios for less.
Yes, exactly. Like Gorilla Cambridge, they did that
Hmm.
VR game Rigs, and then after that, dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
it's like, you got to
and you saw
produce.
before Dreams officially came out, there was all these rumblings that is Media Molecule going to be the next studio that just Sony axes.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I'm glad that it has legs though, but let's move on
Yeah.
to the
So, but
next
yeah,
one.
no release date on that either. Then we got this one I didn't care for. Look, it looked like it's another exclusive in house by the PlayStation Studios, Destruction All Stars. It looks
Yeah,
like
no. Mm-mm.
it didn't really speak to me. Like it's a demolition derby. Like when I thought about this, is like, is this going to be PlayStation All Stars rally racing?
Like it's like Demolition Derby meets like
Twisted
Rocket
Metal.
League meets Twisted Metal meets like Battle Royale. Like
Yeah.
it was like next.
Right.
The designs look cool, but it was like, this is not a game for me. This is
No.
not a game for me.
No release date on that either. Then we got to, and this is kind of cool. I mean, I wasn't crazy, but I actually thought the premise was cool. Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
Oh,
It's another timed exclusive, console exclusive for the PlayStation 5. Interesting to note that I don't know if it was the entire team or a good chunk of the team, but I saw this morning that a lot of people who worked on Majora's Mask are working on this game.
okay. All right.
So,
Like it felt like it was like, I've seen this game before. Like as soon as it started up, it's like, I've seen this art style before. I've seen this type of like story told so many times.
mhm.
It's like, pass. Like I'm give me something good. Like if
Yeah,
they would have hit me with that Gran Turismo like around this time, I would have been like the most excited man in the world.
I know. But no release date given for that either. But like I said, it is a timed console exclusive. Um, then they had this one, of course, like I said, Sony likes to speak to all different audiences. Goodbye Volcano High. It looks like one of those, you're playing as humanoid dinosaurs by a volcano. It's pretty much one of those young adult coming of age romantic adventure games.
Like,
Um,
give me Life is Strange or give me death. Like, I don't want
right.
any of this.
Right. So, and I mean, they keep teasing it's the end of an era. It's like, so what you're telling me is when they graduate, they're going to have a meteor strike and
Yeah,
basically
everybody's
wipe
gonna
them out.
die. Everybody's
Right.
gonna die.
But this is another timed console exclusive, and it's going to come out 2021.
Mm.
So,
Like, if it was like presented in a way, it's like, there's an interesting gameplay mechanic,
right.
or like the story is not just angsty teens. I would
Yeah.
be like, okay, cool, you got me. Like, you get me with an interesting gameplay mechanic because gameplay is king, or you
Yep.
give me a good story, and I'm in for it. But neither were presented as like, I don't really care for the art style, and it was just like, yeah, whatever. Let's get to the next game.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. So then we saw, and they kind of let because they had that guy from the studio present, and they said Oddworld Inhabitants was the developer studio, and I'm like, if this ain't Oddworld, I don't know what this could be. But
It's like,
Oddworld Soulstorm is the new Abe's Odyssey game in that genre.
like, I don't know who plays these games. Like,
I
it's like,
have a few of them only because they were free.
yeah, same here.
So-
It's like, who's playing these games and getting them, actually buying them? You know what I
right.
mean?
Because
It's like,
correct me if I'm wrong, they've been making these since PS2, haven't they?
they've been making them a long time. I remember them
Right.
being like on the original Xbox.
Wow.
Like, there was an Oddworld game. I think it might be older than that, but it's like, who who's playing it? It's like, I don't hate it. Like, I have no problem with it, but who's playing this thing? Like,
it's always been like, it literally sticks to its name, Oddworld. Like, it's always been like that redheaded stepchild. Like, people play it, people enjoy it, but it's just like, who keeps asking for these?
Yeah, it's like if Crimson Sky stayed around to this age, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that would be the same. It's like, who's playing Crimson Sky?
Right. But it looks, the gameplay, the side scroller 2D, and it looked like in one of the gameplay, like it was when like the cannons were firing. If you saw in the right hand corner, it was like a body count or whatnot. Like, I don't know if it's gonna, because the tagline is Soul Storm. So I don't know if it's gonna have to be like, you have to save your people, and the more people you let die is going to affect what happens later on in the game.
I'm not sure. Like, I know like the premise is like you're always saving more of the Yug Nubs. I don't know what they're called, but like you're always like trying to save more and more of them. So
yeah.
But
that's also no release date, but it is another timed console exclusive. So like I said, a lot of these were like, how did they get these? Like, how did they strike deals with this? Of course, Shuhei just walked in and is like, okay, we'll sign. Then we saw, and we all remember this from the 2019 E3 presentation, we actually saw gameplay from Ghostwire Tokyo. So, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. There was two things that surprised me about this game. One was the fact that, it's next year, obviously. This is one of the two games I was telling you about that's timed console exclusive. This is a timed exclusive. That one, I was like, how did you get this?
yeah.
But the other one, I'm kind of with you. Like, there were certain parts of the gameplay that looked great, from the far, but a lot of the character models looked like terrible.
Like, okay, I remember when they showed it. I don't know if you watched me and Allie like react to any of this or anything. Like, it's like when Ghostwire I was like, okay, you got me back in to this whole thing. And then they started showing the gameplay footage.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? Like,
yeah.
I was so disheartened. Like, I probably wouldn't have played it, but like it was something intriguing. It was something really intriguing. Like what they did like the last E3, I was like, man, this is going to be so awesome. But then they showed this and it was like, this looks like another Japanese like fighting game. Like, it looks so low budget, and I was like,
like I said, like when they showed out like pictures of like the environment or whatever, that actually looked good. But then when they got up close and they did that combat and the like some of those, like that girl in the raincoat, like that just looked like PS3 character model rendering. And I was like, what is this? Like, Shinji Mikami, what are you doing?
It looked like, oh, we just ripped off Slender Man like 50 million times. Like, all the enemies looked the same. Like, it was like repeats of the same type of enemies. There was like 3 different types: the headless person, the one with the raincoat, and then Slender Man. And then it was like the jujitsu thing looked dope. I'll say that. And then it was just like the same attack over and over. I'm gonna pixelate you, and it was just like, dude, come on! Like, if you ain't got nothing, don't show it.
And it's so disappointing because it was a CG trailer last year, but the trailer looked so made me like hyped about it. It's like it was so intriguing and made it, and especially because it shows the evolution of Shinji Mikami, because he's this famed horror developer. He was the original one on the original creation team for Resident Evil, and it's cool because that was like a monster survival horror type game. Then we got Evil Within, which is more of a psychological survival horror game. And now this one, Ghostwire Tokyo, looks to be more of like a paranormal horror game. So he's going the different aspects of that. But this one, like I said, when that gameplay showed off, I was not impressed. And this is like the second game where it's like at least a part of the gameplay made me wince a little bit. The other one we'll get into later, but the gameplay did not impress me. And in fact, I don't want to say it drove me away, because we've still got over a year before this game comes out, but I'm like, maybe they'll touch it up, but it didn't. It put me off the radar.
Kenny Rogers has a song, and they should have definitely listened to him. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. And they should have not shown their cards. They just kept this at bay.
Well, it's only because another Bethesda studio showed off theirs like later on in the presentation. But I mean,
I would be
And
like, Bethesda, shut up. You
right.
shut up and go fix Fallout 76.
Don't leave your room until it's done. But no, it's and I say it's a big get for a time console exclusive only because Bethesda is not known to do that.
No, definitely not.
So for them to give this timed exclusivity to Sony is still a big get, even if the game.
That's the second Bethesda one of this conference. That's like
Yeah,
one's
both
time exclusive, and then I think Deathloop is like completely exclusive.
Yeah, well, we'll get to there, but
Okay.
you're partially right.
Okay. Moving on.
Right. So then we saw another indie game, Jet with two T's, The Far Shore. It's another timed console exclusive, and it's going to be a holiday launch game with it. I got pretty much what I saw from this is, again, gameplay didn't speak to me personally, but this very feels like Race the Sun, but with story.
Yeah, like it kind of reminded me of Flower a little bit. Like
Fair.
the very beginning, I was like, okay, this looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we're taking off. And then it was like, what did the beginning have to do with any of this? I was like, what's the story? Why am I doing these things? And
yeah,
like, it was like, if you would have told me a little bit more story, I might be interested. And, you know, like, this is like a chill game, you know, like
yeah.
I play like 10, 15 minutes a day and I'm just like, I'm just relaxed and zen, you know, but it was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So yeah. So I mean, it'll be for somebody, and like I said, it's a holiday exclusive, so they had to have some type of indie game. So sure.
Yep.
Then we saw from Gearbox, and this was already shown off at the Game Awards back in December, but we actually saw actual gameplay of Godfall, which is it's coming out this holiday. Probably a launch game more than likely, and it's another console timed console exclusive. I got very much like Destiny vibes from this, from like how the gameplay and how they pushed about getting your armor up and whatnot. So I think this is going to be more of their sci-fi hack and slash Destiny.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool. The graphics looked a little dated in a way.
Yeah.
But it gave me like not only Destiny, but there was an Xbox game, Xbox 360 game back when we were like our first year of college, where it's like Norse mythology. And it was like in the future, and my friend Travis, my roommate, played it. I don't remember. It was like 2 something. I don't remember, but it looked a lot like that.
Overlord?
Maybe. No, not Overlord. No, Overlord.
I don't know.
Okay. Just we'll continue on. I'm gonna look it up.
But yeah, let's say it did look good. And of course, you know, Gearbox is a heralded publisher, even though Randy Pitchford is a sleazeball, but that's neither here nor there. But you know, we all knew that this was one of the few things you expected to see at this conference, because like I said, they showed it off at Game Awards, and this was like officially this was the first PS5 game officially shown off, so you knew it had to be here.
And the game was too human, by the way, and it was
okay.
It was
never played it, but I remember you talking about it though.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So
sorry, that's what it reminded me of. And
no, you're fine.
Human was developed by Silicon Knights.
Are they? I don't think they're around anymore.
Yeah, and published by Microsoft Studios. So,
anyway. Exclusive.
Nope.
The next one was Solar Ash. This is the second Annapurna game we saw from them, and these are the same team that did Hyper Light Drifter. So I never played it, but I always heard it got great accolades. So seeing this, I got a little bit of Journey vibes from this, just a tad bit. But this is another one where it's a timed console exclusive for Sony.
It looked really cool. Like I never played Hyper Light Drifter. I'm glad that they kept the art style, so it feels like it's like in the same universe and everything.
Right.
So I'm down to clown on it.
Yep. So it definitely unfortunately we'll have to wait till next year because it's a 2021 game, but I
got it in my inbox yesterday. They were like, here.
My bad. I forgot I was dealing with a celebrity here. The greatest podcaster in the world.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Right. I never forget. But like I said, it's a time console exclusive. So like I said, a lot of these are really good gets for Sony to just strengthen their library, because they don't want to, because they remember when Microsoft took Rise of the Tomb Raider from them and was like, all right,
Never
we're gonna
again.
exactly. But
And then they let Senua sacrifice the Ninja Theory go to
yeah, Hellblade.
Microsoft. It's like, what are you doing?
I know. But
man?
moving on, we saw Hitman 3, which I wasn't expecting to see this soon, because
No.
Hitman 2 had only come out like in November of 2019, and this is coming out in January of next year. So it'll be just over 2 years since they put out Hitman 2, which makes me think, are they going to go back to how Hitman 1 was and make it episodic again, but make it like, because you had to wait a couple months in between episodes for Hitman 1. I wonder if they're going to do is like, all right, episode 1 in January, episode 2 by like late February, early March, and then they're going to have a tighter release window. But to push this third one out and not in barely over 2 years, I don't want to say worries me, but it makes me think: are they not going to fully flesh this out?
Yeah, I'm curious to see, like, if it is the episodic, it would make most sense. Like, if they haven't had the time to do the whole game, like, that would be how I would go about it. And they've already done it once and been successful, and people bought into the concept.
Right.
So do it again. Tighten up the windows, like you were saying. The thing that got me is Brohan, guy with a really nice beard and an interesting name. It's like Hanak. Like, I was like, that's a cool name. It's like, we got gameplay, and I'm like, show me this gameplay, man. Let's do it. I love Hitman. Hitman's so fun to play.
You said in-engine footage wrong.
Yeah, it's like, and it started playing. It's like, this is not gameplay.
No.
Are we watching an Xbox conference?
No. God.
I see Sony on this thing. And
pew. Shots fired.
That ticked me off. Like, both me and Allie were like, this is not gameplay. It was like, why are you lying?
I know it especially made you mad because you're a I won't say a huge Hitman fan, but you do appreciate the franchise.
Oh yeah. I've played Hitman from the beginning. Blood Money is still the best. I'm just saying, Blood Money is still the best.
No, I'm not saying. I've heard that's pretty much the consensus: is Blood Money is still the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. I did like the little huge skyscraper building, looks like you're going to have to do a base jump from the building type of thing. But yeah, that was cool to see. But yeah, I was kind of in the game camp as you. It's like, we're showing gameplay. I'm like, this is in-engine footage, but I wouldn't call this gameplay.
Yeah, it's like, let me go back and see. Oh, Insomniac showed gameplay. That's gameplay. Right. This
they even showed. They didn't put let's take it a step further. They showed 2 games with gameplay. One had a lengthy demo, and it doesn't even have a release year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it is what it is. I know. You left Square Enix and you just got lazy.
You own the list.
But then and I didn't pay attention to this originally, but then I saw an article pointing that out. In the randomness of all that, they showed up the PS5 boot up screen. With the little home button. Is like, that looked actually kind of clean. I'm not gonna lie, but sure, whatever. I don't know why you would just sneak that in the middle, but
yeah.
But then we saw. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They were just being sneaky snakes.
Yeah. Then we saw, probably to no one's chagrin, but a little bit of chagrin, Astro's Playroom. It's an exclusive. Like, they took. Yeah. This is going to be pre-installed on PS5 already, which, I guess, I don't know if this will be the new trend, because they did this with PS4. They just called it the Playroom, and that came pre-packaged in with the PS4. Then when the VR came out, they did a VR Playroom. So I guess with every new piece of tech, they're going to include a Playroom. It's cool, though, that they brought Astrobot over, because that's such a beloved VR platforming game. And it's arguably one of the top 5, maybe at least top 10 VR games on PSVR. So it's cool that they're integrating that. This, you got very much with Ratchet, with Sackboy, and then with this, it's like, all right, we're going back to our platformer mascot days, type thing.
Yeah, and like, when we were watching this, I was like, I really don't care. This looks like a kiddie game. But I do like that they're going to pre-install it on the PlayStation 5s, because it's like, okay, you getting this for your kid at Christmas, and you got to download updates, you got to do all of this, but at least there is something on the PlayStation 5 that will run right out of the box. That's one of the big things about the new consoles is things just don't run right out of the box. There's always
Except for the day one update.
yeah, the day one update. Yeah, just don't hook through the internet. You'll be fine. But
Right.
you know, it's like you got to have something right then and there because like you're not gonna want your kid to just be sitting like, well, this PlayStation sure is curvy.
Great. But yeah, so I mean, it's a great get, and I mean, it actually looks like they're trying to flesh it out, not just seem like some throwaway game because Playroom wasn't that intriguing. It just looked like a demo for what the DualShock could do.
Yeah,
So, but you know, adding in an actual like PlayStation platforming mascot would probably incentivize people to actually at least try it out more.
yeah.
If there's a trophy list, I'll at least play it. Then they showed off what I think was the best indie game out of the bunch, Little Devil Inside.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That one, and I call it, you know, there's a term. It's not. Wouldn't say it's a coined term, but I would say I've heard it thrown around triple I game. Like it's not. It's an indie game, but it's a big budget indie game. Because if you even saw it, I geeked out a little bit because you know how when he was on the back of that animal hunting the bear, or when he was trudging through the swamp. Like I've never seen a lot of indie games with those character models make some of those movements like a first part like a big budget AAA title game would do. So it's usually just like stick figures or like, you know, smaller characters that have a limited animation, but they were actually making it seem like, hey, this is more than just an indie game. We're going bigger budget with the animation style. So I actually that actually was like stuck out to me the most out of the smaller titles.
Yeah, like when this popped up, I was like, okay, this piqued my interest. It looked really the art style was very like I've seen it before, but it was like, okay, this is really cool looking.
Yep.
And it's like you're hunting like me and Allie made the joke, you know, that it's like Batman training, like that's the old man is like Alfred, like when Bruce is out like training to be Batman and everything. But it has that feel where it's like you're going on an adventure, you're hunting things, you're doing different things, and like it has like this sense of humor about it at the same time, you know, with like going back and forth with the butler and everything. Like I like that sort of game. It intrigued me because it seems like there's a story there.
Right. So, and I'm, you know, no release date, unfortunately, but they did say this was another of the timed console exclusives that PlayStation 5 will be getting. So, out of all the indie games, that one's probably going to be the one I invest in the first one I invest in whenever it releases. So, but yeah, it was definitely the best of the smaller games shown by far. Then we got, and you know, there's only so much you can do with sports games. You know, even at the Xbox gameplay showcase last month, all they did was the teasiest of teases with the new Madden. Of course, you know, Madden's associated with Xbox now. And then they showed off NBA 2K21. The teasiest of teases, like they say it's in-engine footage, but I'm just like, okay, you're sweating a lot. Cool. Why should I care? Just look, you don't try and trick me with your fancy sweat mechanics that's gonna lead to my park cryptocurrency.
Like when the thing popped up, I was like, oh god, here we go, we're gonna get them trying to just steal our pocketbooks and everything. And then the graphics kicked in. I was like, take my money. Like like it looked so good. But the thing that I love to point out here is if you listen with headphones on, it's not just like, you know, the dribble of a basketball that we've gotten for years.
The sneaker squeak.
No, like there's the ping of the basketball.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you have the thud, but then you have like the ping, and I was like, I was like,
I missed that completely. That's awesome.
It's like it made it feel real, and all of that was pre-alpha footage too.
Oh wow! So it's gonna look better.
Yeah, that was pre-alpha footage, and I was like, if they if they tailor down the virtual currency, which I highly doubt that they will because it's 2K and they're making tons of money from it. But if they make it where like you can just play and enjoy it, and you can, you know, get the virtual currency for like back like in 2013 virtual currency, like I spent some here and there. And I don't do that. But like as the years have went on, it's like you should get virtual currency, buy stuff. It's like, no, if you won't push it, I might push some money your way. But you ain't getting none of that.
Nope. not opening my wallet.
Yeah, but it looked great. Like I definitely want to try it out. I
Yeah.
haven't played basketball, an NBA 2K game since like 2019. I want to no, not even that. No, 2018 was the last one I played.
Yeah, I played 19 only because I got it free from work, and I was just like, okay, sure. No one else wanted it. I'm like, I'll take it. Sure, why not?
Yeah, yeah,
So that was the last time I played. I haven't played 20 though,
yeah.
but and with the exception of, even though it had like a bundle with Xbox One X bundle last year with Xbox, Madden has started to be associated with Xbox, and now 2K has been more associated with PlayStation now.
Mhm.
But it's coming out in the fall. Shocker there. Will be probably ported to PS5, and then it looks like, just because they have who they had to sponsor it, or there to talk about it, it looks like the new rookie sensation Zion Williamson from the New Orleans Pelicans might be the cover athlete, or might be on there in some capacity, but who knows?
It's gonna
You
be
know,
me.
yeah, it's gonna be both of us. I'll be the Legend Edition cover.
Oh yeah, legendary that you get your butt whipped all the time.
Right, the legendary loser.
Loser.
But then we got to another game, Bug Snacks. This is a very weird game, to say the least, but it makes sense because it's from the creators who have Octodad. So it was also a very zany game.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
You play, you do you, boo. You
Yeah.
do you. What's after this one? I don't even
Well,
want to talk about
I'm about to say it's like Octodad. It's going to be a holiday release, so it's probably going to be a launch exclusive, because it's also a timed console exclusive, like how Octodad was. So,
Yeah.
only other thing I have to say is, like, it looks like the bugs you eat, you gain that arm ability. I don't know, but anyway, it's Octo. All you got to say is it's done by Octodad people, and then that's all you need to say.
Yeah, not for me.
Then we got the graceful one to present our, or to come upon our presentation, Shuhei Yoshida.
Like his little cheeks are
I
smiling.
know.
I was just like, yeah.
That smile, and I was just like, oh, shoo! I literally go, shoo. So it was great. And then he's like, before we get to the end, I'd like to talk to you about something very near and dear to my heart. And I'm not gonna, we're gonna get to it eventually, but I knew going in there were at least two games that I just figured, because of all the rumblings, all the talk about, all the speculation, I was like, these two are going to be pretty much locks to be in the conference. One of them was, and as soon as he said very near to dear to my heart, I'm like, this is going to be the Demon Souls remake.
Yep.
And it was. I've never been a proponent. Like, I played Bloodborne, just a little bit of the intro, never gone back to it. Never been a Soulsborne. I played Dark Souls 2 a little bit with friends. Never cared for the Soulsborne genre, but this is the one that kickstarted it. This was like the granddaddy. This was like, if you depending on who you ask, everyone will have their different opinion on which game is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Most of the consensus is Dark Souls 1 out of the trilogy is the hardest one. Demon Souls makes it look like child's play, because I've always heard Demon Souls was just like, this was the absolute hardest game out of it, period. So it's done by Blue Point. They're pretty much like the remaster studio for Sony. They did the Uncharted trilogy, and their most recent one was a faithful recreation of Shadow of the Colossus, which just looks absolutely gorgeous. Oh, yeah. So if they can bring that to Demon Souls, which is a PS3 exclusive, it's going to do bonkers. So great on. It'll definitely appeal to that fan base, because after Dark Souls 3, they said they were done with that franchise.
Yeah.
Their other thing is Elden Ring, but that's with George Railroad Martin.
George R.
So yeah. But no, this was it was a lock to see, and good on them. It's going to look fantastic if they even make it look as good as Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah. And it's a huge thing. Like, it's big.
Yeah.
Is it exclusive?
Yes, because Blue Point and Japan Studio are working on it, so it is going to be an exclusive.
Yeah, they be selling them PS5s, y'all.
Yeah. Well, but it's not. They didn't give a release date, so it's coming, but they haven't said when yet.
They'll be selling them PS5s, y'all.
Yeah. No, regardless, it'll definitely. to that genre of people, oh yeah, it'll definitely be a lock. Then we've got, of course, Deathloop, by Arcane Leon. This is the other timed. It's a timed console exclusive.
Okay.
So when I saw this, because when I saw the trailer for Ghostwire Tokyo, I saw that at the end of its own of the actual trailer, and I was like, "Oh, whoa, 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 back that up!" And then I started noticing a pattern with all these other ones, and then I saw Deathloop, and it did the same thing. I'm like, "You mean Bethesda's not giving Sony one but two of their games timed exclusivity? That is huge." And I don't know how you feel. You may not feel the same, but I actually liked the gameplay because I like. Yeah, you could say, oh, it looks the same as Dishonored. It's by Arcane. It's a sub studio, but it's Arcane. They did Dishonored. What do you expect? But the other thing is, like, I love Dishonored's gameplay and the power style. So seeing that incorporated into this game makes me just want to play it more.
Yeah, like it reminded me of like Prey and Dishonored because like
Yeah.
they're both same type thing. Like it looks really cool. Like having like you're just repeating over and over and over and trying to find different ways. Like I think it's very interesting. I'm curious to see how they do like the guy and the girl, like if they're like like if it's like me
Yeah,
and
you could
like,
choose, or like, well, and see, when they officially unveiled it, it was like Ghostwire Tokyo was just a CG trailer from last year. Um it, I made it seem like it may be a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And who knows, it could still have that element. But with seeing this gameplay trailer makes me feel like, because at the end you see her like jump down off the building and shoot. So it makes me feel like you'll either it'll have replay value, because the whole goal is to kill these 8 people by midnight, and the goal from the lady's perspective is to stop or just pretty much kill him, because as she said at the end, she's like, I just want to kill you because I like it. I don't care about these other people. So
yeah, I don't care.
So
like if it's multiplayer, that would be really interesting. But I could definitely see it more as like you play through either side, and then once you're done with that one side, you go play the other side.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say it's going to be one of two things. Either there are going to be certain instances where you just swap back and forth between them at certain segments, or you get to do, all right, this one through I want to play as the guy. The next run through I want to do as the girl. So it's going to be interesting. But I definitely liked, as soon as he popped out his wrist and you saw the little the little cloud of where you're going to teleport, I'm like, oh, this is Dishonored all day.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, but no release date on that one. But like I said, it's a timed exclusive console game, so it's going to be. That's a huge get. Like, yeah, we said Ghostwire was a letdown, but those are 2 huge gets for Sony.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
So then we saw again. You could probably say this was no surprise here, but then we saw Resident Evil 8 Village. And of course, I think that's going to be their new run-on thing with their sequels now, is just incorporate the Roman numerals. It's going to be interesting when they put 9 out, what the play on words is going to be, but it's going to come next year.
It's going to give it to you. That's the name.
Yeah, Lord. But it's coming next year, and it seems like they're annualizing a new Resident Evil, because last year we got 2, this year we got 3. 8's next year, and then they already confirmed that remake of Resident Evil 4 is going to be 2022.
Okay.
So, but when you saw this, because they're going back to the first-person view, incorporating new enemy type with werewolves, this looks like they're gonna, and it's ironic because literally the year after this game comes out is going to be RE4 remake. But this looks like it's getting vibes and a callback to 4 a little bit by having the village and whatnot.
That's what I got like from it. I was like, when like it started, I was like, I'm not sure what this is. Like they were,
Yeah, there was that lady whispering in the beginning. I'm like, what is this? It's a horror game.
I wasn't sure, and then like they started showing more and more of the character models, and I'm like, yeah, this is Resident Evil, because like there's a certain look to it. And then they showed the mansion. I was like, yeah, this feels like RE4.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but that looked like very similar to the mansion from 1.
Possibly. I'm not what I
either that, or they're just basically making like a callback to it, but it's not,
Yeah, it's kind of like, here's a reference.
Yeah. But I mean, if you didn't get it by the time, like there was like, I don't want to say it was a chessboard, but it was like a little like object in the middle and had the umbrella symbol in there. I'm like, all right, if you don't know this is Resident Evil, you do now. But
I didn't know it until, someone told me. Even when Resident Evil popped up, I still didn't know.
Right. And they had leaked what was it, late last week, early this week, that there was like the village, was going to be the
Mm,
tagline for RE8. And then when I saw that, I was like, okay, here we go.
yeah,
But I will say this is the other game that in the beginning, and it may have just been the trailer, but it made me wince a little bit because some of the movement looked jagged in the
yeah,
beginning, and I was just like, don't know if this is the trailer or whatnot, but this makes the RE engine looks like it's trying to chug to make all this animation happen right now, and I'm
yeah.
like, I don't really care for that.
Yeah, I know. I want to say it was before they had postponed the event. They
Mhm.
had said that they were running the event at a lower resolution,
Okay.
so everything could be smooth and all of that. Because they've been, dealing with like COVID and all
Right.
that kind of stuff. So they were like, this does not, show what the PS5 can truly do. You'll see more of that down the road, but
Yeah.
to take in account of that. And then they talked about wearing headphones so you could hear some of the 3D audio stuff.
Right. And of course, at the end, we saw Chris Redfield shown, and he looks like, I don't know,
It's like,
yeah, he was like bam bam bam, and he's like, all right, cool. So, and he came in at the last DLC for RE7, so it
mm,
looks like he's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be a villain, but he looks like he's going to be more of a main factor in 8.
mm,
So, but
mm.
what?
I'm trying to remember. Ethan, was that was the main protagonist of 7?
Yeah, but it was one of the DLCs that.
No, I'm saying like he says like Ethan in the trailer. Like
Oh,
Ethan's name is mentioned a lot. Like you're
yeah.
viewing the trailer from his perspective,
Huh.
and
Huh.
then like he caps the
Yeah.
girl that you literally go save during 7.
Yeah. Huh.
Okay, I just put all that together.
Huh. I didn't catch that either. So good on you for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
All those days playing RE7, getting the crap scared out
I know.
of
Especially in VR, right? When she played
Yeah.
all of like
Oh,
20 minutes.
yeah, yeah. Not again. Not again.
But yeah, so next year is when we can expect to see that. Then we saw, I mean, it's a Capcom game. You could say
Mhm.
it's very weird, not to be expected, but
It
Pragmata.
Yeah, it
Um
looked. I thought it was Kojima. Like when it
me
first
too.
started, I was like, "This Kojima. Like
It
this is
looked
so
like
weird."
like the gear he had on, it looked
Yeah,
like a Destiny helmet, and then his stuff was like, is this something with Death Stranding related? Like
yeah.
what?
Well, and even like the design of the little girl, I was like, this is like totally Kojima right here."
Right. But then Capcom popped up, and I was like, okay, but that looks actually somewhat good for a Capcom
Hmm.
game. Interesting though to see that. Granted, this is the only game we've seen that's going to have like a 2 year out window, because they said 2022, and I'm just like, why show it now? Like this should be
Yeah,
the events like this should be reserved for games that are like, yeah, you could tease it, and I know Sony didn't put a lot of dates on the stuff they showed, but at least if you're going to get, either don't give a date, or don't give a date, or at least show stuff that's going to be within the next calendar year.
yeah, yeah. I agree, 100%.
But then, my friend, the last game, the piece de resistance of gaming, what I wanted, I don't want to say the only thing I cared for, but the thing I cared for most to show up in this game came at the very end. Horizon 2 Forbidden
Hmm.
West. And my goodness, that game is going to be amazing.
It looks gorgeous, man.
Yeah, it does. And just the premise, like when it came on, like I had to help. I couldn't help myself. I was like, I had to peek in just right before I went to work, and I popped in right as that was coming up, like I was like, okay, water, greenery, and then it's like the old ones. I was like, oh, this is it, and I was like, let's go. And then I looked at, after it was done, I looked at it, was like I had like literally 7 minutes to get to work, so I was like, I gotta go. but but I looked at this and I was like, my goodness, this game, this is the only thing I cared for. And like I said, this was the second one that, you've heard so much
Hmm.
rumor mill, so much clout around, that it had to be a lock for the showcase. Now, I'm kind of upset we didn't get a date for it, but it didn't take away my hype to see this game and to see, because, Forbidden West, because we were already in the Rocky Mountains, like around Colorado, Arizona. What's another? Oh, there's another one.
Washington.
No, not Washington, but it's around, anyway, it's around that area. Yeah, but it was just so good. We're going farther west, so we're gonna probably hit Nevada, Wyoming,
Well,
maybe
you
Washington.
even see like the Golden Gate Bridge
Yeah, so yeah,
and the.
California.
Mhm.
So I wonder how much, but Forbidden West, the title, the play on words makes you think is like, okay, this is like, we don't let you go outside these walls, unless you're an outsider or unless you're a scout. But we really don't need you to go in this area. This is like locked off. This is like the worst of the worst type thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like the new
Machines.
machines look really dope.
Yeah,
Getting
the
like the
snapping turtle.
Yeah, that was so cool looking. And then like
Man, the war elephant. Like
yeah,
I
the
saw
war
that,
elephant.
I was like, I got literally when I saw that, I was like, all right, Pelennor Fields, Return of the King, I'm in.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
but yeah, and then you saw, I guess what pterodons or whatnot that were
Mhm.
flying types, and then even the boars you see.
Yeah.
So they showed off said like this, like, and apparently like because you see a lot more wildlife than you did in the first one, like actual
Mhm.
wildlife, and apparently this red substance, I don't know if it's like blood roots or whatnot, is poisoning the land, pretty much killing anything living.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll affect the machines per se, but that's going to be the overarching premise because I'm gonna spoiler. You beat the first one, right? Never mind. I'm not
Don't
gonna
spoil
spoil
me.
it. Okay, never mind. But
Like
it was
what I got from the like it made me think of Red Tide, how Red Tide will kill living things. Like
right.
if that's what I got from the trailer.
Yeah, it was just. I was just so glad to see that. But like I said, the war elephants at the end were great to see, and it's like, correct me if I'm wrong. But and it's good to see like other elements too because I don't think you. I know you treaded like above water, but you didn't have a breathing apparatus in the first one,
No,
right?
no, you didn't. Mm-mm.
So it looks like they're going to do like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and do like underwater exploration,
Mhm.
and that's going to, and then you even see like the crocodile machines. I was like, oh crap, of course, of course,
God, we don't
that's
need
all
that.
I need.
Don't need that. No. But yeah, like
So
I love that they're, it like you can only do so much above land, and then it's like if you're going to the west, there's going to be even more water. There's going to be more
yeah,
things for you to explore and everything. And if
especially
you're
if you hit California.
yeah, if you hit California, like that's are you going to be swimming to Alcatraz or something like that?
Right.
Like there's a lot of possibilities here, but I was
Yeah,
stoked for it. Like when it cranked
me
up, I was
too.
like, okay, here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Oh, it was so I got goosebumps. I was like, all right, this is the only thing I wanted to see, and I got it.
I don't care what
So
it looks like. I don't care what the PlayStation 5 looks like.
right, exactly. Which leads us to our last points of the cherry on top, because everyone was speculating, will we see the box? And people were saying no. They said they're only going to show games. We're not going to see the box. Forget the box. And we got it.
Mhm.
We got the router.
Like everybody that's watching this, and Derek, you need to go watch my reaction
Mm-hmm.
to this. Like they started showing it, and I was like, because I went back and watched it today because I had to edit it, edit stuff,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, I was really disappointed.
Oh wow.
Like when they started showing, I was like, what in the world? Like,
Yeah.
like I since the PlayStation 4 is more angular, like I
Yeah.
was like, they're gonna go back to the curve because like they'll
Yeah.
go from like straight angles to curves because that's how it went from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3. Even PlayStation 1 was more
Yeah.
curvy for that time.
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of their MO. They go back and forth and everything. Like I was like I was like, yeah, it looks futuristic.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Look, we got Avengers Tower. It's okay.
yeah, like looking at it more, it's not bad. It's not great, but it ain't
Yeah.
bad.
That's exactly how I felt too. It's like I don't if you ask me what I was expecting, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I was expecting. I couldn't tell you what I wanted to out of it, but it just, and neither one of these consoles, like the Series X or this, are not great. But it doesn't. But for the PS5 design, it doesn't look bad either. It doesn't look like a CPU.
Yeah. Like it's like, do you? We've seen it a bunch today. Like all the memes coming out from
Yes,
both of these. It's like, do you want the fridge or do you want the router?
router.
you
And
know?
it's interesting, right? Because when they, because they only showed it vertical, and I don't know if you saw the pictures because they showed the horizontal.
I did see a horizontal version.
So the way they had it vertical was like, all right, if they laid it down the other way, it's going to be the disc tray is going to be on the top right. And I was like, that's weird because I'm so used to my PS4, my disc tray being on the left. And then I look at my PS3, my PS2, I'm like, oh, the PS4 is the odd man out. But then they showed the laydown view and it's left underneath, which the left, okay, cool. They're keeping it with PS4, but it's like under, that's like on the second panel. I'm like, that's interesting way to put a disc tray.
Yeah. But what was even more interesting to me is the
which
digital.
Yes. And I was going to say, I was debating whether to lead with the roadmap to this, but the roadmap is Xbox has always been one step ahead of PlayStation so far with this reveal and drip of content. But this was, excuse me, this was PlayStation's first, basically like, all right, we're going to get ahead of you guys this time. Yeah. And they showed the digital version of it, which I thought was great. And, because Xbox is rumored that they're going to do a discless digital version, but the rumors have all pointed to that it's not going to have all the bells and whistles as a Series X, and it's going to be cheaper. Yeah. And I'm like, well, me being avid gamer, I was like, I'm going to want all the bells and whistles, so I'm just going to go ahead and pay, and even though I've gone all digital, I'm going to not use. Are you done?
I'm an avid gamist.
Hey, it's 11 o'clock at night. Leave me alone. But, if I'm going to want all the things, I don't care if I have to not use the disc tray or not. I'm just going to want the whole package from the get-go. Yeah. So they didn't talk about, of course they never gave a price point, didn't do a fine date, fine, whatever. But now I'm interested to see, all right, now we're giving you a digital edition. Now is like, are you going to do the same thing as Xbox and make it less powerful and cheaper? And I'm like, I'll be fine with $50 cheaper, but with the same bells and whistles as the console with the disc tray. Like, I'll be fine with that. But if they make it to where it's like, oh, it's only going to have half of the stuff of the one with the disc tray and just be like $100 to $150 cheaper, I'm like, no, I'll just buy the one with the disc.
Like, I would rather have the digital version, than the disc version. Like that I don't do disc at all anymore, so I'd rather have the digital version if it is the same power. Like, if it's not the same power, then it's like, I guess I'll get the ugly one.
I mean, no.
The one with the disc looks like it's got a growth on it compared to the digital.
Fair. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if they were to basically say, hey, this is going to have the same bells and whistles, but we're going to just make it $50 cheaper with no disc tray, I'll get the digital edition because I'm like you. I've gone all digital. I still have disc games, but that's because the games are too old and too expensive on digital. So, but if they're going to do what Xbox is supposedly going to do and take out a lot of the features and make it less powerful, I'm just going to buy the one with the disc tray and just be done with it.
Yeah, I want the most powerful of the group.
Yep.
Hopefully they'll have the same schematics and everything. I was very surprised that they came out with a different SKU, like at the very beginning.
Me too.
I was very surprised about that.
And you saw rumors of like they were going to do 2 SKUs, but it was like supposedly going to be like a PS5 Pro, and I'm like, no, like maybe down the road, but they can't do this out the gate because that'll just skew the market way too much. But now this makes sense by having a digital version, and this is the next step and basically going to a streaming future.
Well, they don't get me started on Stadia tonight.
Fair enough. Man. Fair enough. I know you haven't had the best experience with that.
Get me started on that crap.
But I think it's also cool that they showed other accessories like the HD camera, the charging station, Pulse 3D wireless headset, which that's going to be cool to see. Like, it looks like with the 3D audio in the controller, 3D audio functionality in the system, it looks like they're going full 3D audio. Like, they're just going to want to immerse you. Basically, it's like we're not going to make noise canceling features because we're going to make the 3D audio so enriching that it's going to be its own noise canceling feature.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see like how they work around like other people's like headsets and everything.
Right.
Like, do we see Turtle Beach or Astro like making 3D audio headsets? Because like they normally do like, this is PlayStation only. You know,
Yeah.
like you could see that happening. But it makes me want to get those 3D audio headsets like from the beginning, just so I can experience it to the
Right.
fullest.
Because if it's anything like PS4, you're not going to want that little singular earbud that's going to hurt your ear after 30
God,
minutes of use.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. If they know, I don't. If they choose not to even include a headset, I won't be mad because it's like,
Well,
don't give me a piece of crap.
yeah, and now there's a mic built into the controller, so like as
Yeah,
long as
it's
that's good, and you're not getting like
yeah,
someone just like rubbing the like you know how like plastic sounds or like
yeah,
grab it. Like if you hear a bunch of that, then that's totally useless.
right. And then of course they also showed a mini remote too. So
Mhm.
which you haven't seen those. Those almost, I don't want to say those seem like archaic, but they definitely seem behind the time to me.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. I've always used my controller. I've never seen the appeal of a media remote with my console. But
Like I got one for my PlayStation 3, but I didn't get one for the PlayStation 4 this time around.
yeah.
So
So, but yeah. So kudos to them. They definitely, like I said, great start, great end, meh middle.
yeah,
So
yeah. It could have been like I literally this is like an hour and 25 minutes. Like this was more exciting than their hour and 15 minutes.
right, because you
And
actually got commentary.
yeah, and we didn't see any of it. Like you just saw our face.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So
I'm excited for it. Like there were things that I wanted to see, but I didn't get to see.
yep,
You know, so
because they're probably not ready to show right now.
yeah. So hopefully we'll see more. Throughout the summer.
Yep.
Going into it and everything. See a short up like okay, these are the things that are going to launch. These are the launch window games and everything.
I think unless they just sneak in an event in July or just who knows, PlayStation has played this really weirdly into the beat of their own drum with this unveiling. Like we've gone from blog posts talking about the specs,
Wired articles.
the Mark Cerny presentation, the DualSense reveal to now this, and it's like we finally get something. It's like okay, sure, whatever, just give me something at this point.
Yeah.
But we could wake up July 1st and they have like something just to show off randomly that's not a press event. But I think the next time we actively see anything from them at like a big event would probably be Gamescom in
Mhm.
August. But who knows? Like as we've seen, Sony will just put out a random state of play, and
Yeah.
that's that whenever, and they'll come out Monday and say Wednesday we're doing this, and it's like all right, cool.
All right, let me just change my schedule.
Right. And then but the next big, obviously with everything going on right now, it's up in the air because Microsoft, they announced in April that they were going to do events from like the next 3 months. And last month we saw their first gameplay unveiling. This month
Mhm.
was supposed to be hardware, like the rumored second, like the digital console or whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's still up in the air. They haven't yet talked about it at all. But now, who knows? Because we still got half a month to go.
Mhm.
But the next time you'll definitely hear from Xbox will be in July because they're going to do
Mhm.
their first party exclusive event. So they need to show it because their first game's unveiling was garbage.
Oh yeah, all that wonderful gameplay.
Yeah, all
Hmm.
of it, all
All
2 seconds.
all right, guys, that is going to do it for our in-depth
Hmm.
discussion on PlayStation 5's reveal event. Let us know what you thought down in the comments below. And what was your favorite game? My favorite game was the one that had stuff in it.
What a concept!
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think my favorite probably was either Spider-Man or the Athia got me pretty excited. Got me
Yeah,
pretty stoked. Like didn't see much, but I was like, okay, all right. Like
yeah,
indie game, little devil inside, like
so,
that one
yeah,
looks cool. And Horizon, you can't go wrong with
yep,
Horizon.
yep.
But the thing that got me most excited was you being here, Derek.
Hey, I'm always glad to come on. As always, thank you for having me.
Glad to have you, bro. And one day I'll replace you with Shuhei Yoshida.
Hey, if you replace me with him, I will not be mad.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Zach.
And Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. We'll see you on the next exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know.